But before we start the review, don't forget to like and also subscribe and share with your friends. Also, we got brand new videos dropping every Wednesday. If you also love discussions on the hip hop culture as well, don't miss the Korean Bloggers podcast that also happens every Monday and Thursday.
I think so, yeah. It wasn't like a literal translation for the album. I wasn't trying to like in every song go, yo, this is how I'm wearing a mask, this is my facade. But it was more like, I kind of was trying to talk about the other side of success that maybe a lot of my heroes.
Hello and welcome to Celly Reviews, and today we're back with another review, and today we are reviewing Loyle Carner's latest project, Not Waving But Drowning, right here on Statistic TV. Now, when I first got into Loyle Carner, right, like, he's one of these artists that is like, you know, that's got that energy in him, like, you know, that you hear him and you just want to get better. He's a hip hop artist from the UK that started off in 2012, and pretty much it's like, you know, he's been releasing singles here and there, and he didn't release his first album, which is the album that I got into, and it's called Yesterday's Gone. Now that album was pretty much kind of a Tom Mersh, sorry if I said that wrong, but yeah, Tom Mersh and kind of Loyle Carner collaboration. He was the main producer on the album, and it was very good. Like, I pretty much enjoyed what I heard on this one, so I was pretty much anticipating what's to come on the next project. And when I heard this album, trust me, you're going to love it, especially if you love artists like Bella Soul, Farside, Q-Tip, a Tribe Called Quest. I mean, when I thought about it just now, Q-Tip is a Tribe Called Quest. So, but anyway, for this album, like, I personally gave this album a recommendation of buy the record. I mean, it wasn't the easiest choice to pick. I was stuck between CD and record and the vinyl record, but I do believe that it's worth the vinyl record price. Let me explain. When it comes to the cadence and the cadence that he paid to his raps, like, that was top notch on his album. There was a lot of layers and messages in this in the whole project. I personally, in my crates, I personally selected They Don't Know. I think this was the only track that made my craze. There were also other cuts as well that I really loved. I think tracks like Desolé and Icy Water were really good cuts from this album, but obviously They Don't Know being the one that would go straight into my crates to play in DJ sets. I really loved this record, but going track by track, I really appreciate the work that he's put into this album. I really appreciate the cadence he's put into the stories that he was going to tell. I really loved how cohesive the stories were. I mean, the album really starts off magnificently. It's like the end. You know, he says he's in love so much, and he's put a ring on it. And you know, like, all these things were happening, and you're like, okay, but how did you get here? That's the first immediate message. Like, how do you get here? And then all of a sudden, we got we then move on to Otten Diggly, which is, fun fact, on the official video of the track of Otten Diggly. I'm never gonna get this right. I'm gonna dissect the video first. The video is really based on perceptions, like, and it really views you like, you know, life is actually full of perceptions. Like, 1 minute we actually perceive like he was on a he was on a train with no one there. Another perception was, it was actually seeing this from outside the train, where the guy basically he's talking about social media and basically talking about Instagram and all these things that we use to create perceptions for people to take. Like, they were like, you know, like, as you listen to a song, as the song progressed, you find that these people were present for the picture, but they went back into hiding once the picture was taken. I got the message that people are only, they will be in your life. They will be in your life when you're on a high. They want to be in the pictures with you. They want to do all these things with you. However, once that's gone away, they got back into hiding. That was one perception. There were so many perceptions that has got layers upon layers that I'm just not gonna. It's so much to get into, but that's the one part I loved about that track. And within this album, it tells that story too. This is how layered the tracks were between both Otten Diggly and They Don't Know. Like, Otten Diggly now. Otilengi. Oh, it's not that. Ottolenghi, I keep getting it wrong. Anyway, Ottolenghi now, like I'm not gonna go into the verse or the or anything like that. I'm just gonna go into the chorus. This is how detailed that this track and the album actually is. The chorus pretty much lets you know. The chorus goes as: born and raised, made attempts to crawl away, find a way to exist and hide your face. Some relate, leave everything in yesterday. And he repeats this. However, but let's pick it apart. Born and raised just simply means you're born, you're raised, you grow old. Like, you know, you're gonna generate, you're gonna grow older. Not generate. What am I saying? Born and raised basically means that you are born and you are growing up. Made attempts to crawl away, meaning that as you grow up, and as you face different obstacles in your life or anything like that, you're naturally gonna go back into a shell or crawl away from the reality that you're facing right now. Find a way to exist and hide your face. So when you're going through that, like, you know, when you're going through that, you pretty much, you don't know. I'm gonna get to that in a bit. But when you're going through this, find a way to exist, because you don't know, you just try to find a way to actually live your life. Like, some people hide behind perceptions, which was what the song was about. Some people put up the front in which what the video was about. Some people put up the front of they have a really glorious life, they're fine. And this goes back to the title as well, in Not Waving But Drowning, because these people that put up the front that they are fine, that everything's okay, they're really not okay. They only are displaying that picture for you to see. Find a way to exist and hide your face, because they don't want to show you who they really are. They don't want to show you their true colors, their true face, their true nature, because of many reasons. Like, some people do it because they are afraid to be abandoned, or they're afraid to be left alone. And, you know, some people have to question the concept of an adult abandoning another adult, but that's another topic. Some relate. So now, along the journey of being born and raised, you're gonna find people that are gonna relate to your traumas, to your life, to your everything. And these people, you're gonna call them friends and leave everything in yesterday. That's pretty much how life pretty much is. You leave everything in yesterday, in the sense of you don't face this adversity that's happened to you. You don't process it. You don't go through it. You just put it on the back burner and move on. This is just the chorus. So imagine in the track, which is very, very detailed, which obviously I'm not going to get into because for the purposes of this video, but just by the chorus alone, you can see how deep it really is. This continue on like to They Don't Know, and this speaks a lot to what I was saying earlier in regards to how cohesive the story is as they transition from the next track to the next track. You can see how much the artist paid attention to the structure of this album, to how it transitions to how it transitions from track to track, and the story that he really wants to present. You Don't Know What I'm Looking For is pretty much echoing literally right back to Ottolin. Which brought it right back to Ottolenghi, which talks about which talks about find a way to exist, find a way that you want to put up this perception, that you want to show people how you are. I personally thought that these parallels was really good. And You Don't Know What I'm Looking For is like, obviously he's talking about, like, this was when, in my opinion, this was when the tracks really turned on its head. It wasn't as rosy and happy as it presented in the beginning. Anyone would just think that this is just the start of a beautiful relationship, and then it becomes a tumult, like, you know, start having troubles and then it resolves in the end. That's not the structure. At least to me, it's not a structure. To me, that was the end result, and we just reverse engineering until he finally grows into who his mom at the end says he is. But I'm gonna get to that one at the end. In the track You Don't Know, like, this was when we started seeing a different side of Loyle Carner, where he was where in my opinion he was very abrupt with a girl he was seeing, and which pretty much plays to the chorus. You don't know what you're looking for. Like, you just keep saying that, and it made sense when Kiko Bun like I never really understood this track the first time I heard it. This was a track that pretty much had me stumped. Désolé, which obviously means sorry in French. This is when he started to begin his introspective journey, and he started to realize what he was doing was wrong. He started to realize that this girl that he's with actually loves the hell out of him. So here you can see that he's kind of in between the flashbacks and the reality and the current timeline. So as he's doing this, on loose ends, he starts to basically go back to They Don't Know, the story in there, and says that he regrets that, and he reveals that he was the one that he didn't know what he wanted, and he was just putting on that facade for the girl, that strong bravado, blah blah, you can call whatever, and he was doing all that just to survive, just to have someone who can love him, because of this other side of him that was the things was going through in his life. He couldn't really bring himself to trust this person. The person, the story, he couldn't bring himself to trust this person, so he reacted in so many other ways, and one of those ways was the way he reacted in the relationship, which was horrible to the girl, because he actually got to say, nah, this was bad, he's sorry for this, sorry for that, XYZ, this person wasn't here, he started justifying himself a lot. And it was amazing how Loose Ends actually ended. This is what I mean by he actually paid attention to the instrumentation, to the story. It was perfectly transitioned to a woman, I don't know who she is, but she was narrating, and the instrumentation remained. The instrumental from Loose Ends remained to her saying that she saw a guy that was drowning, that there was a couple of people that saw a guy that was drowning and waving, which is coincidentally the artwork. But anyway, the guy was waving. The guy that was drowning was waving. However, his friends that saw him literally thought he was waving at him, and the guy was really drowning. And the girl says, "This is how we live sometimes. This is how we just put on a mask. We just wave to everyone, acting like everything's cool when it's not." And I personally felt that this was a great message in terms of mental health and the need for us to be aware of it, like the need for us to actually sit back and actually think about our lives and where we're going in it, and are we really being our most authentic self? Because when you are living your life based on other people's perceptions of you, and this again goes back to, I'm not gonna say it, I don't know how to say it, Otolengel. This goes back to that track again, and it basically lets you know that was that this was the foreshadowing of this message here, and as it goes on, Loyle Carner actually does offer some kind of solution, some kind of restoration, like it does bring peace to know who he is. He does bring harmony, that he can finally continue doing what he's doing without much conflict, because this is when I believe there wasn't so much conflict in his life. It wasn't like They Don't Know, where it's quite in your head, you're trying to figure out what's going on, but in this it's kind of smooth sailing from here. And the most ingenious thing that he also done in this album was to also bring in the mom at the end, in Hey Ben, I believe it's Hey Ben, I don't know, it's called Hey Ben, where he brought in the mom, and the mom was writing him like a little poem or just a letter or whatever, and basically was telling him that he was very strong in what he's going through. So now we have a different perspective, the same way that Kiko Bun kind of leveled out the perspectives in They Don't Know, by showing that, no, this guy, I'm relating to his experience. I used to run around doing all those things, but I was trying to escape something. I was trying to sail away, which coincidentally was the explanation for Loyle's behavior in the whole. That's what he found out in the track Sail Away. He was kind of explaining that he was doing all these things to escape. Now that he got his mom's perspective, his mom was basically saying that he was basically true. He was being true to himself. She admired all of that, how strong she was, because a lot of people would have fought it had it been them in that position. And it was simply a bit of amazing storytelling, because this perspective is so strong, because quite a lot when we're introspecting, we always look at ourselves as the devil. We always look at ourselves as the worst person to have ever lived, like when we realize that we've hurt somebody else. And the funny thing is, this is actually the good nature in us to actually realize that and become humbled by it, because it doesn't, I mean, how can you call yourself the devil if you realize that you've done bad and you feel bad about it and you're not smiling about it? Like, you know, that's the true devil in my opinion. But I digress. The point I'm making is while Loyle was beating himself up, his mom actually saw him as a role model. Like, you know, you've gone through XYZ and you've continued to push on with your vision. You're now married. This is a stark contrast from who you was before all of this. So you are very strong for that. And that's a perspective that Loyle actually never ever talks about on the entire album. His mom brought that out. And it's such a rich perspective, in the sense that is actually how we look at ourselves. We often put a mirror and we see the devil, rather than see the good in ourselves and the angel in ourselves. And this underlying message, which I'm pretty sure that Loyle put there intentionally, is to basically say that, and the way that he ended the album is basically say that you need to go on this journey so that you can reach this point, and you also need to go on this journey with compassion and kindness. I gave a personal rating of 22 out of 25 to go with my by the record recommendation. I do feel like the intention for this was to get people to look deeper into things rather than just taking it for face value, because face value, you may think that someone is actually waving at you, but someone really is drowning and someone really needs your help. Thank you so much for taking this review. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this album. I was actually going to review this a lot earlier than now, but there was, like, you know, when I got to They Don't Know, it caused so much dissonance within myself. I think I was going through I was going through quite a bit myself, which kind of caused me to just put the album down for a minute and review other ones, as I've obviously done on the channel. But when I picked it back up and I was in a better state, I was able to actually relate to what he was talking about, because this album, this is what I loved about it. It was not just extremely relatable, and not just was it a conceptual album but it really can speak for your life. You can put a mirror on you. Maybe that's why and that's such a scary thing, which I don't really, you know, if people don't want to go on a journey, I don't fault them, because it is quite troubling to look at yourself in that, to point a mirror on you and see the devil in you. You know, and I love the approach that Loyle Carner took, because he didn't really force the issue. He just presented a story. He just presented a perspective, and he brought in other perspectives to kind of level the playing field. So in all fairness, I think he done a brilliant job with the album, and I'm looking forward to more of his releases. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next review. Peace.